Welcome to Lesson 37 of Algebraic Concepts, Equations, Fractions, and Decimals. All right, here's objectives, some vocabulary, some rules and notes. Okay, so now when we're dealing with fractions and decimals, I would be careful. I would say change everything into a fraction, but in this instance, when some numbers divided by 6 or divided by 3 will repeat. So what I'm going to do is show you a little trick. We know that 2 times 3 equals 6. And because we know that, that's going to help us change everything into a common fraction. So let's do the math on this page. Now we remember from fractions that when you change a mixed number into an improper fraction, you multiply and then you add. You multiply going down, add going up. So 1.5 becomes 3 halves. 1 2/3. 1 times 3 is 3 plus 2 is 5/3. And then 2 5/6 becomes 2 5/6, 12, 17 over 6. Okay, so we got 3x over 2 plus 17 over 6 equals negative 5/3. Now what we're going to do is change everything to the same. Well, what we could do, honestly, here's a little math trick. Let's multiply everything by 6. And so you have to distribute the 6 here, here, and here. So now 6 times 3 over 2 equals 9. So now we're left with 9x plus 17 equals, I'll show you over here. How is it 17? Because 17 over 1 times 6 over 1 equals 17 over 6, I'm sorry. You cross factor and you got 17 over 1. Becomes negative 10. And how is that? 5/3 times 6 over 1. You cross factor. 5 times 2 becomes 10. So now we have a regular equation, which we're now going to solve on the next page. So we had 9x plus 17 equals negative 10. So now we subtract 17 from both sides. 9x equals negative 27, divide by 9, and the x will equal negative 3. Now we could have did the whole rigmarole with dealing with fractions and all of that, but I was able to see that the 2 and the 3 are factors of 6. So if I multiplied the whole equation by 6, it just made it easier to solve. Okay, so you got negative 36 over n equals 2 2/5, which is 12 over 5. 2 times 5 is 10, plus 2 is 12 over 5. Now, this comes from our proportions. Let's cross multiply. So 36 times 5, 180 equals 12n. If we divide both sides by 12, n will equal 15, negative 15. Okay, so how did we do that? We cross multiplied. Whenever you have two fractions, the bottom of one multiplies to the top of the other. So that's called cross multiplication. And we covered that when we were doing our proportions. All right, so those were our examples for this lesson. So please meet me at the end of the video for the recap. Okay, again. So you got 2n over 3 plus 3 minus n over 5 equals n minus 5. So we have equations on both sides and fractions. So let's do this. Let's take 2/3 minus 1/5 and deal with the n on the outside, plus 3 equals n minus 5. Let's subtract 3 from both sides. So you got 2/3 minus 1/5 n equals n minus 8. So let's deal with these two fractions. 2/3 minus 1/5, 5, 10, 15. 15 is the lowest, so we multiply by 3 over 3 times 5 over 5. We get 10 over 15 minus 3 over 15, which gives us 7 over 15. And 7 over 15n equals n minus 8. You subtract, or let's do this. Let's add 7/15 n to both sides. So we have 0 equals 1 and 7/15 n. See, the number in front of n down here was 1. Now, when you add a fraction to 1, it's just that 1 plus that fraction. Minus 8, let's add 8 to both sides. And now we have 8 equals 22 over 15. And we're going to multiply both sides by 15. And I'm doing this in stages. I could have multiplied by 15 over 22, but I just want to show you step-by-step process. 15 eighths should be 90, right? Equals 22 times n. Now we divide both sides by 22, and n will be 4.09 repeating. And so what does that tell me? Well, 422 is 88. So it would be 4 and 2/22, which is 4 and 1/11 as a fraction. So however you give it back is fine. But that is the answer to the problem. So, next one. All right, now we got some decimals here. Add 1.5 to both sides. 0.3r equals. Okay, these have different signs, so we know that different signs subtract. 12 minus 5 is 7. 3 minus 1 is 2. Take the sign of the larger number. Now we divide by 0.3. Now we divide by 0.3. And r will equal 2.7 divided by 3. And that is -9. Okay. 4.8 over a equals -0.3. Well, we can put any number over 1. And now if we cross multiply, we can see that 4.8 equals -0.3a. We divide by -0.3 on both sides. And then a will equal 16, -16. And there you have it. So that wraps up this lesson. you're going to see equations with fractions and decimals in it. So get used to practicing some of your decimal and fraction math. I will see you on the next video in a long, long, long series of solving equations.